All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
gonna be us. We can drink and talk shit as much as we want. Nobody can say anything to it. D.L. Hughley Uncut.
Welcome back to DL Hughley Uncut. And of course, I have been excited about talking to this young woman.
I wonder why.
You know why, because she's a lovely lady of Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
my sorority. And I had to get that in there first before I let you know. Of course, everyone knows she's a former White House correspondent. And she's basically, she's still a correspondent. But she's,
Right.
I'm sorry, she's actually practicing self-quarantine.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Because being careful and safe, loving her family and loving herself, we get it. But also, I think she's best known as always keeping Trump on his toes.
Yeah.
Please welcome to the show, April
April Ryan. How are you, Miss Lady?
Hello, DL. Hello,
This
Jeff.
quarantine
girl.
got you looking. You got your hair done somewhere.
That's how Deltas roll. Don't worry about that right there.
It's a hot comb in your quarantine. I know that.
Let me tell you something. I've learned how to use a curling iron. Yeah.
Now you kind of morphed into your own thing, like you're doing kind of what you've always, maybe it's what you've always done, but I think a lot of the country, we always knew you, but a lot of country got to know you for your run-ins with the Trump administration, and you were for decades a White House correspondent, right?
23 years, DL. 23 years.
And you survived almost everything, wars and floods and earthquake and fires, but you could not survive the Trump administration, which is, you're like the post office.
No. I'm still here.
That's right. Still battling.
Let's be clear. I have run from death threats, and I have not gotten caught, and I am running from Rona, and I'm not getting caught. I will not go back to the White House until the all clear is there. I'm still working. I'm working from home.
Right.
I talked to Congressman Don Byers. I talk to everyone still.
Right.
But it's just not safe. Even the White House Correspondents Association said, if you don't have to come, don't.
You were always the epitome of professionalism, but that became increasingly more difficult. It seemed to us, now I can't tell you how you felt, but as an observer, we often talked about it. It seemed difficult to act professionally with people who were determined not to be. Like, there's a certain amount of decorum, whether you, regardless of what political stripe you adhere to, that there seemed to be a certain respect for the office of the presidency and the media. And that seems to not be the case anymore.
This president has a true disdain for the media, particularly there's even a difference in how he goes after those who are mainstream reporters who happen to be white versus the black female reporters.
Right.
If you notice, when some of the reporters chat, like just keep going, he has a different demeanor, even in his terseness.
Right.
But when it's us.
But he's dismissive. I don't want to use fair and Trump in the same thing. But he's dismissive to everybody. But there's a special.
Yes, there is some extra sauce or something on it that he puts on it. I'm thinking about Yamiche early on.
Yeah, I'll say you Michelle Sender, yes.
Yamiche Alcindor, who works for PBS, a dear friend of mine. And I was watching, I think it was a Sunday. And it was a Sunday. I was watching and I saw her get up and ask a question. And she
You remember what the question was?
I forgot. This feels like a year now.
Right.
I forgot what the question was, but it was a Sunday. She asked a question. She kept asking. It was a pertinent question, a real question. He did not want to answer, and she kept going. And I said, uh-oh. And I texted her. I said, Yamiche, be careful. And as soon as I said that, I texted her real time. He said, oh, well, yes, and you work for this, and you used to work for the New York Times. I said, Yamiche, he's giving you a warning. He's letting you know he knows who you are, and he's checking into you. And I said that because I had to deal with that. I was alone for a long time, being chastised by the president. He called me a loser.
You know what, though, for me, that brings me to this point. I think the thing that's so difficult to understand as a citizen watching a journalist do her job, you and Yamiche, same thing, asking pertinent questions that we want to know the answer to, and to know that he can threaten you in a subtle way, or even you know, having the threats that you've had and all of that, you flat out ask him very plainly, are you a racist? And I watched what happened after that, the death threats and needing, you know, bodyguards and things of that nature. What have we come to that we can't even ask necessary questions, especially in your job, to the president?
We need to learn our history. That's the problem. People don't understand civics. They don't understand U.S. government. They don't understand the Constitution. And they don't understand that reporters are part of the First Amendment, freedom of the press. When checks and balances fail, our founding fathers, who did not look like us and didn't expect me to be there, said the press has the right to ask questions, to be independent for the sake of accountability.
Right. Do you think that what we are in now has any semblance to our aspirational goals as a country? Do you think that we are evolving and elevating, or do you think that we are sliding back?
We have devolved, DL.
Why do you think? Why do you think that is?
Because we are now looking like Russia and China. These are things that happen to the press, or what happens in Russia and China. We are now chastised, mocked publicly, called the enemy of the people. I have to have bodyguards?
Well, I think that I'll say this. I think he has a particular disdain for women, but I think women of color he has a disdain for, because he honestly doesn't feel like they should even be in a position to have these conversations with him. You can see the way he looks at them. Like he like every time
he'd be in the room and he wants to automatically to diminish you, like, oh, okay, like whatever.
Right.
But when we ask a question that gets under his skin, you know it.
Yep.
And he can't tolerate it. And the crazy thing about it is, like Harriet Tubman did, Black women lead the way. We were the ones showing the others in the room that you did not let him knock you down, because this is your job.
Right.
It's not about you. It's about the American public.
Oh,
and I'm going to tell you something. I'm still standing, and he will not make me leave. Right now, Rona's got me here at home.
But I love it, and I think he hates
all it took to
cool
make April stay home was a virus.
Yeah. But